You're now listening to the Pitchside Peregrines Podcast, your home for all things Athletic Club Boise. All right, everyone, welcome into a celebration, a party for tonight's post-game recap of Athletic Club Boise's victory over Westchester Soccer Club, a 4-0 tromping. Definitely a bend over and just take it. I think Westchester just kind of didn't have any answers for what Athletic Club Boise was dishing out, and the scoreline accurately depicts how this game went.
Yeah, I would most definitely agree with you there, Elias. It was we were able to kind of take our foot off the gas for the first time, it felt like this season. And I didn't know if we were capable of doing that because, even if you look at our last game against AV Alta, we were up 2-1 and we did not take our foot off the gas at all. We
Yeah.
were definitely trying to add another goal in before that game was over. But yeah, this was an absolute dominant performance. We were extremely aggressive coming out of the gates. I think we had 2 or 3 corners within the first couple of minutes. So yeah, this one felt good. This one felt really good. The crowd was really into it. Another good sellout crowd. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really good performance in front of the home crowd. So yeah, couldn't really be happier.
Yeah, I think it's definitely maybe I would have loved this result for the home opener just to give
Mm.
Boise and maybe the hype and hustle and maybe just talk around town to be that much more over a 4-0 victory. But the second home game will have to do. Before we jump into quick match highlights, there were maybe a few lineup changes that we didn't talk about or weren't expecting. Big one being Jonathan Clewer was in goal for Joseph Ndema, along with Thomas Amang fitting in for Luan Brito. Charlie Adams did start over Musa and yeah. So, we can talk about Clewer later in the episode, but there was a goalkeeper change. I don't know if Clewer really had much to do. I think he had one save in the game, but he didn't do anything to not impress, I guess. He did
Yeah,
what he did his job. I think when we were talking with someone about that, it was like he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't really need to do much, but he did what he had to do.
yes, and he got rid of the ball.
Yeah, he
Like
booted it. He
he
might have
just didn't
booted it
mess
out, but
around.
he at least got it out and didn't, I guess, play with it as much and just kind of
Yeah,
was maybe
he
as
didn't he
a,
didn't try to he didn't try to overplay. Like he
yeah.
just kept it very simple.
Like if you, yeah, pictured a robotic goalkeeper, that's kind of how Jonathan Cleaver played. Just save the ball, clear the ball, on to the next one.
Yeah.
So with that, we did obviously score 4 goals. Tumi Moshaban started off the goal scoring touch in the 16th minute with a off of a Charlie Adams cross. Ball kind of just got mixed up into the box and it fell to Tumi's feet, and he was able to just punch it in and get the night off, starting on the right foot. One fun note is it does seem like Freebird was at least the goal song for today's episode, today's match. I don't know if that's going to be um, for all matches, but just something to
Mhm.
look out for, that they maybe took a book out of the U.S. men's national hockey team,
Mm.
um, who also use Freebird as their goal song for when they're on the ice, not on grass.
Whoa.
So, sorry, it's late in the night. We got some burps to get out. Kyle, what about maybe the 2 goals that our friend of the podcast put into the goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Two goals and an assist. Dennis also had an amazing game. He was kind of everywhere. He is kind of a floating. We did kind of have a floating hybrid like front three, almost like a 3-4-3, where Thomas was kind of the tip of the spear. He was the first, which I mean, I guess on paper, but Toomey was often, I guess, the furthest forward, where they're really fluid, and so that goal, that the first Dennis goal, which was the one that he kind of scored. He drifted on to the right and he just kind of put it past the far post, or he put it to the far post. Um, I think that was the one where Thomas like stiff armed one of their center backs.
Football
Thomas,
tackle.
he I mean, he's stocky, man. He's stocky. He's built. So yeah, Thomas just stiff armed basically one of the center backs, and then he hit a pretty good, not all the way across field, but it was a really good pass to Moon. And then we kind of had an overload on the right side where I think it was the left back who kind of had a cut inside, and he had to pick one. He's like, all right, do we stick with Moon who inverted, or do I go and try to defend the overlapping Kostishin? And Moon had a nice little through ball, and Dennis just put it to the far post. So
Yep.
really good finish. Um, yeah, we hit him on a counter, on a really good counter attack. So no, it was really good overall play for and build up for that one. We hit him on the break, and I think that that's just going to be the style play that we're going to have,
Yeah.
where we were able to counterattack really well in that instance, and it just Thomas just said, "Get off me."
Yeah, he definitely showed his muscle, and I think a recurring thing that happened in this game was the referee kind of let things go. So you got to play with
Yeah,
what the referee gives you, and it seemed like if it wasn't a blatant yellow card or a blatant Terry kick taking down, just kind of kept playing on. So an
yes, yeah.
amazing build-up play, and kind of showed the finesse touch of Dennis, and not as much maybe. Not his last goal also was a nice finesse touch, but at least showing he can do a lot more than maybe just do a tap in from a Blake Bodley cross and can create something on his own. That third
Yes,
goal,
talk about create something on his own.
third goal of the game, or Dennis's second. We had a great view as we were waiting in the March line, as I forgot a sweatshirt, so I needed to get one. Just an absolute worldy, I guess. It shows that once again that we are not needing to purely cross balls in from a wing back to a waiting striker or Dennis into the box. It shows that Dennis can cut back to his left and just snipe the top corner,
Hmm.
top left corner of the goal. Not much the goalie can do there. Um, it was even better that I was right in front of the supporter section, so they just went absolutely ballistic. Beautiful goal, and really exemplified the scoring ability of Dennis, who currently has 4 goals and is tied in the USL in first with total goals, with 4 other players. But of the 4 other players, only one, Dennis and one other player, do not have a penalty goal. So they've all been in open play, which speaks to the fact of he is scoring not just from the spot,
Yeah,
not at
yeah,
all from the spot.
yeah, exactly. No, yeah, he had a phenomenal game, and this was very. I mean, obviously Dennis isn't a winger, and he definitely doesn't have the speed of Mo Salah, but it was very Mo Salah-esque, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like you knew the moment he got the ball in that position, it kind of felt like we knew what he was going to do because you could really tell that he was kind of showing to that inside foot, his left foot. And I get it. I guess maybe the defender was a little hesitant to kind of try to cover that inside foot because again, our kind of calling card is to just hit crosses across the face of goal. So it was nice to see him have that really impressive moment of quality
Yeah.
because it was just a phenomenal finish. And we were in the merch line, and for those of you who haven't been to a game yet, the merch line is just insanity.
Don't do
I
it.
think I think we were in there in line for 45 minutes, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll leave it like the 30th minute, 35th minute of the first half, and we'll be back in our seats, probably by the end of halftime, I guess. And nope, we didn't get back to our seats till almost the 78th minute. So we did have a really nice view for that goal. Yeah, again, it's just a really good moment of quality from Dennis that just shows that he's definitely having a great season for us so far in that kind of hybrid striker, false nine, central attacking midfield role. And it was nice to see he scored with both feet, kind of the
Yeah.
same position. He ended up on the right side of the pitch. But for the first goal, he scored with his right foot. Second goal, he scored with his left foot. So that him being able to score with both feet is an extremely amazing quality to have, kind of
Yeah.
and Anton Semenyo type player where if obviously it seems like he's going to favor his left foot, but again, it's the fact that he can still hit the ball like he did with his first goal with his right foot. It's a great quality to have. So yeah, really pleased for Dennis, friend of the
Yeah.
pod. So yeah,
Yeah,
really
I
impressive.
know he definitely made it abundantly clear that he was not happy with us not picking him to be the first goal scorer, which technically he wasn't.
Yep.
So We can tease and Taz, but to have 2 goals and a shot at having the first ever Athletic Club Boise hat trick was definitely, he earned man of the match, and I think the highest ever player rating in Athletic Club Boise history, at least via SofaScore. Before we get there, we did put the cherry on the cake, or the icing on the cake, with a Luan Brito, I guess, final dagger. Again, kind of just messy box play, a potential penalty call that didn't happen. Keegan
Yeah.
Euler, it fell to his feet and he played through what everyone thought would have been a penalty whistle. At first, I thought Luan poached Keegan's goal. Upon further review, Keegan's cross was truly a cross and was not on net and wasn't going to go in. And Luan just used his magic touch and had his first open play goal as a Athletic Club Boise player, and
Hmm.
put it back in the net, put a kibosh on the night and a 4-0 stomping. As mentioned earlier, Dennis did have a chance at a hat trick, got a perfectly weighted pass back to him, center of the box, and unfortunately just placed it right at the goalkeeper on the top end of the bar, and the goalie made a save. He can't save. I mean, I think we had 5 shots on goal, 4 goals for the game, with the fifth shot being Dennis's there, which is a 80% turnaround on shots on goal to goals themselves, which is amazing for
Yeah, it's
tonight.
definitely
So
definitely gonna drop Hammersley. Hammersley, yeah, that's his name.
yeah,
The Westchester goalkeeper's save percentage quite a bit.
yes,
But he couldn't have. Maybe the second you can have the conversation of he could have stopped that one. But it kind of reminds me of one of the goals that Endema gave up earlier in the season, where he kind of has to close down the angle and he just picked the perfect spot. So yeah, the Brito finish, yeah, it was another. If we would not have scored from that phase of play, I mean, the fact that maybe with this ref, it wasn't a foul in any other part of the pitch, but my goodness, that's just a foul. Like it is, like
yeah,
that is the fact that and again, he probably wasn't calling those as fouls like the entire game. So I guess it makes sense for him, but like the defender wasn't making a play on the ball. He
mhm,
wasn't shoulder to shoulder. He's going through his back. It's like how the fact that that isn't a foul and that's not a penalty is kind of ridiculous, in at least in my opinion. It definitely didn't seem like a flop, but then again, this ref was letting most of
everything
these
go.
types of fouls goes. And again, if it wasn't a borderline yellow card, this ref wasn't even blowing for a foul. Like he wasn't playing
Yeah,
advantage. At least there was some where it seemed like, oh, it seems like he's just playing advantage, but he wasn't making that obvious, or he wasn't like at least making the hand signal or anything. Like, and it would just be like, is this not a foul? So
yeah.
it was definitely interesting from the referee today, and we
Yeah,
can talk
I
more
would
about
say
it.
there's far more consistency in how he called the game, which when it comes to that, I'm fine if you call it funky, as long as a foul is a foul, no matter who does it, what time it is.
Hmm.
He was pretty consistent that he was going to let a lot go. It's not going to be like the Spokane game where we had 6 yellows in the first half. It was going to be, hey, let's play a little harder, let's play a little
I
rougher,
mean, I
and
get
let
that it
things.
wasn't yellows, but not
Yeah, it
every
wasn't at least a
foul needs to
foul.
be a yellow
Yeah,
card. It was, yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty wild.
I
But
know
yeah, no,
our section definitely let him know that some of his calls were not the greatest. I know Jonathan, our buddy Jonathan, it was his first game to be sitting with us, and he definitely let the referee know his thoughts from afar.
I also think Jonathan hates referees as a
Yeah, I
whole.
think so. Jonathan doesn't
Jonathan,
love.
Jonathan,
Yeah,
Jonathan doesn't love referees in any sport at any time. So yeah, understandably so at this game, Jonathan got a little worked up, which is
yeah,
which is definitely okay. But yeah, Dennis did almost have that hat trick. But yeah, it was obviously a phenomenal performance by Boise. Good big on the Brito finish too. It was just a good poacher instinct finish. So yeah,
yeah.
he
Stuck the boot
definitely he
out,
buried
and
it. Yeah. I guess Westchester did have a better second half. We did kind of like take the foot off the brake a little bit. They had a couple of like half chances, but nothing really that stuck out. They had some decent little spells of possession, but they didn't lead to anything. It wasn't those spells of possession didn't lead to high quality chances. Um, So
Yeah,
yeah, at
they
least not of note. I think Jonathan had one save.
one
So
save. Yep, in the 74th minute.
yeah, so not much. There are a few talking points that we can get into though. I think one of the first ones that we can get into would be the Blake Bodily possible injury.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was a contact injury or not. I don't think we saw that one per se where it didn't look noticeable. So hopefully this isn't. I'm always way more afraid of non-contact injuries.
Hmm.
Non-contact injuries are always much more scary. So
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
hoping this might have been just kind of a small knock from a contact injury, and not something that could see him sidelined for a few weeks because I don't think he's our highest rated player when it comes to like our personal player ratings, or even like our 3 stars. But he's, outside ratings by analysis, SofaScore, FOTMob, whoever definitely has him as our highest rated player. And he's obviously been incredibly impactful. So hoping this isn't a long term injury. Euler played great when he came off the bench, but that's still not something we want to see be a long term thing.
Yeah, I know it always can't be sunshines and roses, and unfortunately today, um, yeah, there's a question mark over Blake Bodley and if it's a long-term injury or if it's more of like a Thomas Amang where it was a it's a knock, you have to get subbed off, and maybe it was precautionary. I mean, at the time of the sub, we were up 2-0 and scored 3 minutes after the sub. So it could have been, let's be rather safe than sorry. And it seems like we're kind of going to cruise to victory at this point. Let's sub you off, because at the same time, they also subbed off Nick Moon and gave Musa and Euler the keys. But that was one of the things. The other thing I wanted to bring up was it seems to be a recurring factor that Jake Dengler, who is tied for the lead in yellow cards in USL 1 this season, um, lets maybe the opposition get to him or lets his emotions get the best of him at times, where once again, one thing leads to another. I think it was after a set piece, corner, or free kick. One of the Westchester players got into Dengler's space and pushing and shoving proceeded. And Dengler, being the giant that he is, very much outpowers anyone who touches him and has led to another yellow card. Thankfully, no reds, and thankfully, it's only a single yellow, but you do get a suspension after, I think, what, 5 yellows? You get a 1 game
Five, yeah.
suspension.
Hmm.
So he is two yellows away from that, and it is, um, I mean, the Avialta game, the Omaha game, and this game, he has yellows. So just something to maybe keep your eyes on. It is great
Hmm.
cinema for the viewing audience to watch Dengler just bully a person
And
who is half his
I don't
size.
think he was the aggressor in this one either. I think he got pushed or someone else got pushed because in AV Alta, I think Miguel Ibarra had pushed. I think he had pushed Kostishin, someone, and then Jake came in late and
Yeah,
started pushing. And I think this was kind of the same thing where I think Jake might have come up a little bit late and the guy pushed him and Jake just pushed back. But because he's a giant, he moves people.
yeah.
So when he pushes people, they move backwards. So again, it's another yellow that I'm sure is really frustrating for Nate Miller, who also got himself a yellow card
Yeah.
this game during I think that double substitution that we had where Nick Moon and Blake Bodley came off, but Nate did get a yellow, and I'm sure it was berating the referee for something. um,
I could have swore he
so
got a yellow in the Spokane match, but looking at it, he
he,
didn't.
yeah, I'm
It, at
not,
least on
yeah,
SofaScore, it does not have one showing. But
yeah,
again, don't get too many of those, or you do get a match ban.
hmm
So just something to keep your eyes on. I know Jake is kind of the enforcer of this team. It seems like him and Philip are kind of the, if something's going to kick off, it's going to be one of them starting it, which I love. It is awesome, but maybe just teeter that line of what a yellow card ensues, and maybe just um, take it back a step.
yeah.
So, as we did mention at the top, I think the last talking point before we get into our 3 stars, and wrap up this pretty nice and sweet episode, is the Jonathan Cleaver substitution. I know that's kind of been the talk around town for, I think, the last 2 or 3 weeks of having Joseph Endema in goal. Kyle, what were your thoughts on Cleaver, and did he impress at all?
Hmm. Um, we were talking to Roger from the River Guard after the game, and I hate like I get goalkeepers needing to push each other, but I hate goalkeeper inconsistency.
Mm,
So even if a goalkeeper isn't necessarily having the best time, I want to see them stay to keep their confidence up. And unless he's legitimately, unless it's really a train wreck, and I wouldn't necessarily call Joseph Andema's tenure as a starting goalkeeper a train wreck in any way. I think there were bad moments, but he's not a bad goalkeeper. So we'll see how this all plays out. And Jonathan, and here's the thing. Jonathan had almost nothing to do. He made one save that I don't think really took much. He had like one punch from across, and I think he collected one. Other than that, I mean, he just cleared the ball. He got rid of the ball, and he didn't hesitate. I think one thing that's even Joseph Van Demme's like moments of we have the mistakes that have cost us goals in dropping the ball on Mayaka's foot and the giveaway against Spokane, but even in his distribution, it's definitely been a little he seemed a little nervous. AV against AV Alta kind of makes sense with 30, 40 mile an hour winds. Can't really blame him there. So it was interesting to see. I was anticipating that if the change was going to happen, it was going to be before AV Alta. So the fact that it happened after AV Alta was surprising to me because again, Jonathan or
Joseph.
Joseph didn't do anything wrong against AV Alta. That if he would have saved those two goals, it would have been save of the week, both of them. So
Yeah.
it is interesting. It is interesting. I think now that that choice has been made, um, I think you have to give him a run of games, even in the USL Cup,
Hmm.
uh, which usually you'll see some sort of goalkeeper rotation. So would I be surprised if we saw Joseph back in net against Las Vegas Lights? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But
Would you be
I think
surprised if
now,
Javier was playing against the Las Vegas
yes,
Lights?
yes, I would. I don't think that's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that would be way too much going on. I think we have made our choice in our two keepers, which is unfortunate for Javier because he came in with quite a bit of hype. But
Mm,
obviously, our coaching staff has obviously deemed him not to warrant starting.
yeah. Not even making the bench on home matches, let alone
Hmm.
away games.
Yeah.
I
So
think maybe when they signed him, they thought that that was gonna be the starting goalie. Obviously, he was the first goalie signed and one of the first signings announced by the club.
mhm.
But just maybe the product in practice was not up to snuff, obviously, if he is not even making the bench. So
Yeah.
good to know you have that kind of specialty player. But if he's not even making the bench and we went to Pens in the playoffs, then you
Mhm.
can't even break him out for that. So it definitely seems like a two-horse race between Klewer and Dema. It isn't a race. It just becomes a 1-2 where there's a clear starter and a clear backup. But I think
Yeah,
maybe
I
this
do
was the
not
worst
like.
case for Nate Miller and the team with
Yeah.
Cleaver didn't have to do much at all. One pretty routine save and just kind of facilitated the play, but he also didn't do anything that was like, what are what are you doing? Stop that. Please,
No, you
please stop that.
he kept it simple. He did everything very like
To the book.
he just yeah, exactly. Oh, the ball's they're pressing me and I have the ball. I'm going to clear it. I
Yeah.
mean, like any, so you can't really ask for much more there. So
Hmm.
it'll be really interesting. And again, I hate goalkeeper competitions because I just other than the center backs is like keeping consistency there. The one position where I want to see consistency is goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting, um, because it's such a confidence position.
Hmm.
So if all of a sudden Andema doesn't play in the USL Cup and he doesn't get a run, if Jonathan Cleaver starts for the next 4 or 5 games, then I doubt we'd see Andema this season really start more than
Hmm.
one or two, other than maybe a couple of USL Cup games. But because it's just the confidence is gone. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
confident if I was a goalie. I wouldn't or a goalkeeper. I would not be confident. And so it kind of same with a little bit different in the front line because I was surprised to see a Mang starting because I haven't been necessarily. overly impressed with his half against Spokane. He brings something really different to Luan, extremely different. So I guess that is nice to get just different looks. So was this a tactical decision or was this a performance? I know a lot of people have said that Luan hasn't exactly lit the world on fire, but he had a nice goal today. Thomas did have one moment where, I mean, he just so happened to be directly in line with us so we could see it. And I was just waiting for the offside flag to go up, and it just
Mm-hmm.
never went up. And he was a mile. He was at least 4 to 5 feet offside, at least.
Yeah,
And
it was a
the
whole
flag
body plus
never
some.
went up.
Which
And
was surprising that last game against Avialta, he got caught offsides 3 times in
yeah,
one
3 or 4.
half.
But
Yeah.
this was, and I get it because you see it in the Premier League and even in the MLS. So they'll just kind of like let play go on in case he is on sides. But that's if it's close. This
Yeah,
wasn't close.
totally.
And the assistant referee's right there. Like the
Yeah.
lineman is right there. And so I'm just like, okay. I get wanting to like, yeah, if you're the head referee or head official and you just let fouls go, sure, whatever. But this was like if we
That
would have
was
scored
out
from
there.
this, it would have been all over the internet, being
Yeah.
like,
If he would have
wow,
scored,
this
maybe the
is
flag would have gone up, but because it became
yeah,
nothing, nothing came of it. Who knows?
yeah. Who
Um,
knows? But yeah, I would be if I was a Westchester fan, I'd be like, oh, okay.
okay. Yeah, I think I
Great.
did see one or two Westchester fans when I was there. Side note.
Yeah, good for them.
But yeah, I think next week against Las Vegas will tell us a lot about how maybe the rest of the season will look, or at least the next month, as May is a very crowded month when it comes to gameplay. One quick shout out is Jonathan Kluwer and his partner, I don't know if it's wife or girlfriend, did announce that they are expecting a child. So congratulations to them. Wishing
Yay.
them all the best through pregnancy.
All the babies.
All the babies. And then one other quick flowers is tonight was Jake Krull's 150th USL appearance. So congrats to Jake, who has been pretty lights out and a great center back player the entire
Yeah.
year. Nothing
Yeah,
but
he
amazing
had
things.
something a little different to the backline for sure. He's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah, I
of
know
like
we,
a
we were
quarterback.
chatting
He's a
about it
quarterback
where,
from back there.
yeah, him and Ricketts are kind of different in how they play, but very similar. Where Ricketts carries the ball a lot more, and his offensive
Mhm.
crawl just ends up in the opposition's box or is there for a touch pass.
He kind of
Not as much.
drifts. He kind of
Yes,
drifts in versus Jonathan inserts himself. Like he
yes,
just says, "I'm going here," and yeah, Jake kind of drifts in, and he's definitely Jonathan distributes the ball by dribbling the ball and making short passes, and he is a good cross, but Jake Kroll is definitely more of a he'll hit the long passes
yep,
and maybe doesn't bomb on as much as Jonathan does, but he still ends up in the similar positions.
hmm,
So and also has a really good cross. So
for
yeah,
sure.
yep.
I
So
think we're
great game by both of them.
great, amazing game by everyone. Really, I think it's hard to maybe um, give three people recognition, but that's what we are in these seats to do. So, Kyle, do you want me to go first on my 3 stars, or do you have them prepped for what
I
you're
have a
looking at?
funny feeling that they're going to be similar,
I think first
but
star is pretty obvious. There's the
Dennis.
golden boy, Dennis.
Yep.
2 goals, 1 assist. Kind of can't make that stuff up. A 9.6 SOFA score rating was just lights out everywhere, really, it felt like.
Mhm.
My second star would probably be um, Jonathan Ricketts, I think, was just, again, a great defensive masterclass. Had a lot of passes, had a lot of defensive contributions in nine, never really got blown past. Won all but one of his ground duels, and just was the wall that needed to be there and got an assist. Looking back, it was an assist, I think, on the Dennis goal,
Mm.
the second Dennis goal. So adds to the assist or score sheet. So Jonathan Ergens will be my second, and then I think a let's just go defensive Jake Kroll or Jake Dengler. Really, both maybe 1A, 1B for my third star. Just the defense did so much today. I don't know if it was uh, having not processed the game as much, maybe
Mhm.
to look at what we did so right to shut down Westchester completely. But there was little to no chances at all. So we have to give it up to the defensive back three
Yeah.
for all that they did. What about you, Kyle?
My second star is actually going to be Jake Dengler.
Mm,
For again, we did have a lot of the possession in the first half. I think we were at 70-30
Yeah.
possession in the first half. And despite that, he still had 13 defensive contributions with 9 clearances, two tackles. How many? He had two block shots. He had two, and then he won 75% of his duels, three ground duels and three aerial duels. So
Yeah.
he was just everywhere. He did, and it was some frustrating moments where he was involved in some fouls where he was called for fouling Westchester when it was quite obviously it was either flops or they actually fouled him and he's just a monster. And so they lost. Like they would foul him and yet they would get flattened.
Yeah.
One where he was called for a foul where the guy jumped into Jake Dengler and just got crunched. I mean, he got crunched, and Jake just stood there like, "What do you want me to do? It's not my fault that the guy's tiny," and tried to run into me. So yeah, my second star is definitely Jake Dingler. So I think
What
that's
about your
that's
third?
my third would be Toomey.
Toomey?
My third would be Toomey. He just brings very dynamic. He has such a free role,
Hmm.
and so he kind of led the line today, almost led the line and had a good game. Obviously, he had the goal, but he had some. I think he had one hockey assist. He had one hockey
Hmm.
assist, I believe. Just involved. It just seemed like he was involved in so many of the good moments by AC Boise today.
Yeah.
Um, whether that was just kind of creating space for other players, or again the pass before the pass.
Mm.
But no, for a guy who who's getting into his 30s, he's definitely everywhere. And
Yeah, and
and
this was the first game he did not finish or play the entire 90. It
yeah,
was he
yeah.
was
I
subbed
think
off. So another one bites the dust on the Iron Man streak of never being subbed off. I think Jake Kroll currently is, and maybe I don't know. I think Dennis has been
Dengler,
subbed
Jake
off.
Dengler
Yeah, the
have
back two
both
of
never been
Dengler and
subbed off.
Kroll have never been
Yep,
subbed off. So and Mayock.
yep, yep, yep.
So we're
So
down to
no, it
three.
was definitely yeah, well deserved result. Really good
Yes.
game. I had one
Amazing
more.
atmosphere at home.
Yeah,
Ton of
well done
fun. They did
everybody there.
upgrade the beer garden. So for those, if any of you have beer garden
Hmm.
tickets and liked or disliked the second platform in that area, let us know in the comments below. But we are very much looking forward to the USL Cup clash against the Las Vegas Lights, a USL championship team. If you're confused by that, check out our next episode coming out this week where we kind of dive in again as to what the USL Cup is and what to expect for the beginning of round robin play in this competition. Kyle, any closing thoughts for our lovely audience before we wrap up tonight?
Um, we can give I guess quick shout outs or at least acknowledge some of the people who have kind of given their thoughts as well. Um, because one thing did stand out again, even though we scored goals in different ways,
Mm,
we're still incredibly one-dimensional in how we build up. And that's Ben commented, on the post we had made, kind of post-game thoughts. And he made the point that the way we build up is we just go towards the wings at all times. And so that is obviously that's going to work, in certain situations, but it does feel like we are just so reliant on our wingbacks. And again,
mm,
that's if your wingbacks are good, that's great. But it would be nice if we could show a little bit better. It seems like no matter what kind of position we may be in on the field, it's just, oh, we're in trouble. Let's hit it to Blake Lair. Let's hit it to Nick. So I do like that both Nick and Blake are starting to invert a little bit more. Blake did have one shot attempt on his right foot, and Nick has obviously scored a couple times. Um, but it would be if we could diversify our attack a little bit, I think teams would have a little bit harder time shutting us down.
mhm,
Obviously, Westchester couldn't, but also look at the goals that we scored. We scored a couple different types of goals. Um, even though that wasn't the main facet of our attack.
mhm.
So Ben, we definitely agreed with you there. Um, kind of, he had also made the point about Mayaka needing to step forward in midfield as well, because Mayaka did have another kind of quiet game when he was the undisputed best player that we had in the first two games. And so Mayaka kind of not playing second fiddle per se to our other midfielders. I think he's just being asked to do something a little bit different. So it would be nice to see. And again, it is dangerous for him to step forward too much because we've been exposed when he does. So what do we need to do? Because he's such an impactful player, what do we need to do to get him back involved more? Now, if our results kind of hold, why should we change it? Yeah, and that that could be a thing where it's just like, sorry, Philip, we're winning a lot running this system, so that's where you play now. Like you are much more of the defensive midfielder, and you're not getting the ball in more dangerous areas. So that could definitely be interesting.
Yeah, definitely things to look out for. And always appreciate you fans reaching out to us with our post game comments. If you ever want to get mentioned or have thoughts after the game, always check us out on Instagram at the Pitchside Peregrines Podcast and leave us a comment. Usually we post it on our story. But definitely great thoughts and definitely great things to keep our eyes out for, especially Philip. I think just with how much he set the earth on fire in the first two matches, kind of to see him in this maybe different role and maybe more like, yeah, muted, but still like not doing anything wrong because he's more in this defensive midfield role, similar to like a center back. If he's doing everything right, you don't really notice him. It's just maybe a complete 180 to the person we saw in the first two games. So keep your eyes out for it.
Exactly.
We'll see what can come. Any other things that people mentioned, Kyle, before we wrap this one up?
Michael Storm on the Discord. We have our Pitchside Peregrine Podcast, I guess, questions and input page on the Discord with the River Guard. But he made the point that Dennis is definitely should be goal of the week, the left-footed curler to the far post. So I don't vote on stuff like that very often. I mean, I don't know why. I just don't. But I might vote for that. I
haven't seen other goals from USL this week, but I don't think many of them looked.
I didn't see who it was. It might have been in the championship, but someone definitely scored from their defensive half. Goalie got caught off his line, and he was sprinting. He was running backwards. But
we'll see who the four contestants for goal of the week are, and we can unbiasedly, of course, make sure that Dennis wins that. So
even if he's not goal of the week, he's definitely going to be in team of the week.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is a shoe-in, let's just call it. So
yes, absolutely.
Always happy to see you all at the games. Really excited for what's to come. As we've mentioned through the last few episodes, this is probably Kyle's last episode for some time. So
at least like home game, post game reaction.
Yeah, we will. I am forcing Kyle to take some time off to spend time with his family and spend time with his kids as they welcome in a new child. Yeah, exactly. So I know a few of you have reached out asking to try and maybe fill in for his role. I know my wife might be joining me for a post-game wrap up in 2 weeks.
That's going to be amazing.
But yeah, reach out to us, DM us if you're interested. We don't really need any experience or any, prior podcast stuff. We'd love just having someone on for either post-match or pre-match or something else, just so I'm not just talking here by myself. So Kyle's not going away forever, just for a month, and we wish him all the best. So with that, this is Elias and Kyle signing off for the last time for a little while.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's all for today's episode. If you enjoy the show, make sure to like, comment, share with a friend, and make sure you're following the show wherever you listen. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for all updates and future content to come. If you want to help support the pod and get access to exclusive content, early episodes, and bonus perks, head over and check out our Patreon. It truly helps us keep this thing growing. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for being part of the community, and we'll catch you in the next one.